That axle's seen some weather.
Make me some cookies out of a tree. Welcome to the channel. If you guys know, I'm heading up to Robby's place to work on a bus. And last time I was there working on axles, he didn't have a dead blow, so I had to go hit up Harbor Freight. I'm gonna deliver this to him myself. I might just leave it there as a friendly gesture because they're only 15 bucks for a 5-pound dead blow, so. All right, guys, welcome to the new channel, and I'm gonna start out right away at somebody else's shop. I'm here at Robby's place, and we are gonna do gears. So in case you're wondering, we are gonna be building this crazy school bus, but I did bring some 38-inch Milestar Patagonias that are gonna be put on this thing. It is gonna be massive. I can't even imagine how this thing's gonna end up. And they built me these sweet racks to work on the axles with.
Fully adjustable, fully rollable.
So let's get started. First thing we gotta do now is tear these axles apart. So the last time I was here, and Hillbilly and I were doing gears, I had told Robby I needed a big dead blow, and this is all he gave us was like a Fisher-Price My First Hammer. I don't know if it's because he's not allowed to use something this big because he'll probably break things, but
more likely
I'm going to leave it here anyway.
I moved.
Yeah, there it went.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fresh walker.
That didn't help. Hillbilly and I got the axle stripped down right to just the ring and pinion at this point, and I'm going to show you a couple tricks to pull this off. You always want your bearing caps to be on the exact same side that they came off, and you want the high side to always be the high side. And the way you can tell here is there's a letter K here stamped in here, and it's vertical. And then over here, that letter K is sideways. There's all kinds of different letters, it's just the way they stamp it, but that way you know which one it is. If not, you can always hit it with a punch a single dot and a double dot on the high side, and you know that's the side you want to take it off. Okay, so I got the caps off. The one thing that I did last time I was here at Robby's is he only had this pry bar or that 6-foot pry bar that's back there, neither one of which is ideal. This is about a 3-footer. This is a kind of about the right size pry bar I like to pull a diff out. And a lot of people have a problem getting these out because they're pressed in. You actually have pressure against the bearing. So the way to do it is you take the wrench that fits the bolt, the ring gear bolt, you hold it up against this side, and then you just kind of pry out, and then you can get the pressure off the bearings. Now you just don't want to lose your bearing caps. Ugh. For years, I've used Yukon gear and axle, and Robby and these guys do the same. So that's going to make it pretty easy on me. This is what we got. So I just snugged up the ring gear to the Grizzly locker, but I'm going to go ahead and get all these red Loctited. You always want to use red Loctite on your ring gear bolts, nothing else. Do not use blue Loctite. It will back out. I've done that and learned my lesson.
So use that whole tube per bolt.
No.
Then I'll never back out.
No.
I don't know what it is about this stuff, but it always smells like cherries. Like, I wonder if it's cherry juice. I just got the ring gear bolted up. We're going to go ahead and torque it. Your torque for a Dana 60 is 110 foot-pounds. And Hillbilly has got this magic impact torque wrench that I've never seen before. He swears it's going to work. So if anybody sees this OnX bus have any gear problems, it's because that thing didn't torque it up right. So when I torque up my ring gear bolts, I always set it in the vise and kind of just slightly cinch it down, and then I can torque it up. But if you don't have a vise that's big enough, one of the tricks I've done in the past is take an axle shaft, set it in here, tighten it down, and then set your carrier right on top of this axle shaft in the splines, and then you can still torque it up that way. 38, 39, 40, 49 on that last little
59 with that little unk at the end. That way's harder.
12. Just 12.
But why is it harder that way?
I don't know. Okay, so we got it torqued up. The next thing we got to do is pull these bearings off. And the only reason I need to pull these bearings off, because I'm not reusing anything, but I want to check the shims. It gives you a good starting point to go into your housing again. And then we can check how thick the shim pack is, match it with our new shims on the new carrier, and then do the same with the bottom one. So pretty simple. We just got to do it real quick. Pinion bearing pull is the easiest way to get bearings on and off of any of these axle assemblies. And the way you do it is you have a clamshell here that slides on. You adjust this one down to your bearing, and then this one to the top of the clamshell. And then you can just throw the other one on. And then once your clamshell's on, you just got to lock it in. And that's really just to keep it from separating.
That's it.
That's literally all I need. All we're going to do here is just check this thickness of this shim pack. 46 thousandths. So we're going to get 46 thousandths of shims for the ring gear side to put on there. We have the shims set up for each side. I haven't put them on yet, but I got to press the bearing on. One of the things about this is when you go ahead and press this bearing on, it's going to pop and crackle as you're putting the pressure on it. And to keep that from happening, if you find yourself some penetrant oil, you can just spray that penetrating oil on there, and that's going to help that from ever making that noise, and it's going to slide that bearing right down on for you. Well, we're working on these axles, but we're going to go on a field trip because they just got a call for another wreck. So they've been getting those all day. I'm going to go on this one. So the car we came to pick up actually still ran. And while we were doing that, we got a call for a snowmobile. Of all things, we're out here recovering a snowmobile. You know how to ride one of those?
Oh yeah.
I gotta keep it flat. I don't think we brought a big enough truck. Well, that was pretty uneventful, but I guess the reason the DNR took that snowmobile is they were out checking registrations and somebody didn't have it registered, didn't have it in their name, said that they were renting it, and now it's been impounded. So we'll find out. But
So moral of the story, make sure, if you own it, make sure it's registered and in your name.
yeah, pretty much. Back at it, I got the pinion out. Now I got to pull the pinion bearing off so I can get the shims out of here and do the exact same thing. That'll give me a good starting point of the pinion depth that comes in from these shims that are underneath this bearing. So different Dana 60s have different ways of shimming together your pinion. In this case, with the Super Duty one, it is a crush sleeve, so I don't have to worry about shimming either sides of these. I just got to shim the pinion out to make it fit, to get the right tooth pattern. So all I got to do here is put in the race and the oil sling shim, and all this does is keep the oil up in that high pinion. And he's back now. Put the carrier in, the backlash is too tight, but the preload on the bearings was perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and pull one of these shims out and put on this side, have to pull everything back out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and check the pattern, see how it looks. I went ahead and put the paint marking compound on. I just gotta put a drill on the end here so I can spin the pinion at speed. I'll hold a little pressure on the ring gear just to keep it like it has tension on it. Work it back and forth a couple times, we'll see what we get. Okay, so I ran the first pattern. The pinion is too shallow, so I'm gonna pull everything back apart and move the pinion in to get this thing a little bit closer. See?
You like what you see?
All right, so we've had this thing in and out 3 or 4 times at this point, but got the pinion depth set, got the pattern looking great, got everything back together. But now, once again, once you do that, you got to pull it all back apart. We got to put in the axle seals, we got to put in the crush sleeve, we got to put in the pinion seal, and all those things. So that's what we're going to focus on next, and then we can move forward. Get that seal in, boy! Get that seal in!
I be getting it.
So we got the seal in, now we got to put in the crush sleeve. But when you put the crush sleeve in, you want to reuse the original pinion nut. You don't want to use a new nut because it has the lock on it, and it's going to make it even tighter, and you can actually strip these out before I've done that. So use the original one, get your pinion set, all your preload set, and then pull it back off and then put the new nut on. Okay, so we made this tool to go ahead and put the axle seals in. You can do that inside the axle housing. Robby needs to get a hold of Yukon and actually get their install kit because they have an install kit for these, so he'll have one next time. As far as the gears, so I didn't really get a chance to show you guys, this is the drive side here. So this is what you want. You want it to be centered up on the middle of the gear. You know that you got a good pattern, a good ride. The coast side looks just a little bit shallow, but this is your focus. You want it to focus on the drive side. So the drive side is what's going to control your good gear wear pattern. The coast side is secondary. The more centered the coast side is, the better it's going to sound. So if your coast side's way out, then you're really going to have to start messing with your gears because that's how you get your howling. If your coast side's way out, then you'll hear that whoa, whoa, whoa when you're driving. So our coast side's decent. Our drive side's perfect. We're going to throw it in. Next thing we're going to do here is put the bearing caps on. And all I'm going to do is make sure that I put red Loctite on these threads since it's the last time we're going to install it for this build. Put them in and then torque it to 80 foot-pounds for a Dana 60. Man, oh man. So we got that front axle together. The next one we're going to do is the rear. So I got the rear axle done. That's all going to be on the OnX Offroad YouTube channel, so you have to watch that. If you want to watch a direct how-to on how to do a Sterling 10.5, it will be broke down 100% for that axle. And you can see that they're a lot more professional than I've ever been with these fancy lights, fancy cameras and stuff. Trying to get a bus in here is not a very easy thing. All right, new day. Axles are pretty much ready. We still got to do steering, shafts, and stuff for the front. But Robby and the boys decided to take on the seat challenge of building seats. So I'm just a bystander watching.
We're turning bucket seats into a bench seat for the bus. So we're building 3 bench seats, so this will be a 7-passenger bus. So you can take a couple of your friends, but you're going to have to choose which friends you take with in the bus.
Robby's finishing up the frames. Hillbilly's bolting up the seats. This is what they look like. So now I just need to set it up in here. Putting in the bolty bolts?
I'm putting the grade 8 bolts in the flow. Do you want to know why I'm using grade 8 bolts? Because I can. That's why.
Because he has a bolt sponsorship.
100% why.
A little Keebler Elf Ninja Star. Make me some cookies out of a tree. Okay, seats are in. We are working on a bus, and Robby is going to finish this thing out for OnX Offroad. It's going to be awesome. So in this video, we got the axles done, we got the seats in, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, check these out. There's going to be bit there. There, see, that's bamboozling. Give me a goose.